make it look like you're drinking.
In a coffee cup.
You're just rotten.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us on Facebook, and if you're listening to this on the Spotify or Podbean app, thanks for listening to us on your car ride and things. We've got a special episode planned today. We've been trying to coordinate this for a while. Life has just been happening, and we've got Mindy Allison here with us, and she's a member of the church here at Valonia and a good friend to both of us, and both families were all close, and you might know her significant other that came and brought other healthy food previously. Tim Allison.
Unhealthy?
Yeah, maybe it was unhealthy.
Captain Crunch.
Yes.
I brought you cereal today too.
So she followed Tim to, in his words, one up him today. So she's brought some. You can look on the table and see the plethora of stuff that we have. I'm
He
taking
beat
it
me
all,
to the word.
Yeah.
Plethora.
But we've got Mindy.
She doesn't know what that.
We'll educate her as we go here. Yeah, so listeners, have mercy on us. But yeah, we're excited she's here with us to talk about real food and what that means spiritually and physically. But Mindy, she's been on a journey for the past how many months or years?
1
year.
Yeah.
And started just with the idea of losing weight and physically increasing, the way you look, but it turned into so much more.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about your journey and what's happened within this past year.
Okay. Thank you. Well, really, the past 3 years, I'm going to go back a little bit to kind of give you history. The past 3 years have been super hard in my family. COVID, and everybody, was affected by that. Our whole family was affected at the same time. And then, like 2 weeks after we had recovered from COVID, Tim had a massive heart attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the doctor even said, had he not been working at the hospital at that moment when it happened, he would not be with us.
Wow.
So it was massive.
Wow.
And they do believe it was COVID related. So anyway, that journey started everything. We started reevaluating what we ate.
Yeah.
He had to go to rehab for 12 weeks. We had to meet with dietitians. I mean, it was really well structured, and it kind of started my education on just eating healthier. And then my mom's health had been bad for years, and she had suffered through so many things. She had colon cancer, breast cancer, cirrhosis of the liver, diabetes, and the diabetes really took over. But she was a little stubborn and she was just not willing to learn about it. And she was like, I'm going to eat what I'm going to eat. I want to eat whatever I want. I want to be happy about that. And it really kind of started me learning about diabetes and blood sugar and how to eat better so that I could help her. And I was constantly making stuff for her.
Yeah. And
trying to get her to try different things. And some things she liked, other things she didn't, So it was a successful.
Yeah.
But were you doing it at the time?
No.
And I think that's one thing that I run into is that, we're trying to help other people when...
Yes, my love for my mom got me started.
Yeah.
And then with Tim's heart attack, and I had to start cooking more healthy and learning to get away from fried stuff and learning how to use my air fryer that I absolutely love now. So getting out of my comfort zone, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway, my mom ended up passing a year ago in February. But before then, my blood sugar had started kind of creeping up, and my doctor was constantly on me. He was checking me every 4 months, and he's like, Mindy, you got to do something. So he wanted to put me on medication, and I remember my mom starting on that medication at that low level. But then, guys, by the time, she passed, her blood sugar was coma level.
Wow.
It was just so out of control, and she was living on insulin. And I was like, I do not want to be like that. What can I do? So I told my doctor, I said, I'm not starting medication. I'm going to try to do this with diet. And he was like, I'm happy. Let's do that. Let's try it. The first couple of times I failed. It just didn't work. But then I started Optavia with the help of this one right here.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember standing in your kitchen at the devotional on March 27th, and he and I started talking.
I remember
you went to your pantry and just gave me tons of free stuff.
I forgot about that.
To get started.
Yeah.
And then you and I and Joy made a pact that we would start the next day.
I don't even pinky promise anymore.
Yeah.
That
You
I'm
did
going
not
to-
pinky promise.
I was going to say, I don't
Maybe
do that.
That's the problem.
Lots of Mondays.
You said you're serious. Let's start. There. No.
So,
no.
yeah,
I don't
they
want the
already saw
camera
it.
to be-
Yeah, they already
Camera
saw it.
screen. Woohoo!
Yeah, they already saw it.
So started on Optavia March 28th, and he did too, and Joy did too. But thanks to the free stuff that I had from Spencer, because it took about a week to get my stuff in. But anyway, went hardcore. Total self-discipline. I was all in because I really wanted to lose the weight. Not just the weight. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to wear my cute clothes again.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even recognize myself anymore. So I wanted that back. And I thought, you know, my kids they didn't even know me whenever, you know, I was smaller.
Right.
So they didn't know that person. But anyway, Optavia, and I did it for 2 months. Almost 3, I think, and lost 40 pounds.
Wow. Yeah.
But
That's
I
huge.
mean, it takes strict discipline. No cheating. I did not cheat ever. So then I stumbled upon a movement that's called Real Food, and I stumbled on it on Facebook, and I just started kind of reading. This lady, that the founder of it, Sherry Boyd, she's amazing and so knowledgeable. She's so good at teaching you. She gives you so much information for free. So I just started diving in and reading it, and then I just started living it. I totally quit Optavia and said, I want to learn how to eat real food and it be sustainable for me, and I still lose weight. And now I'm at the point where I've lost what I wanted and I'm able to maintain. I've been maintaining for 4 months, eating real food, eating food like this.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably true in all areas of life. I mean,
Absolutely.
I hear so many people, their spiritual journey
Yes.
is very much the same way. They know their life is not going where it wants to. They want to do something about it. They see the things that are wrong in their life. They want to fix it. They love their family. They want their family to be fixed. That, you know, they want that problem resolved. And then it's just sort of like the same transition you had.
Yes.
That people just begin to see it. And then someone offered them to come to church, or someone offered them something for free, and they came and they saw it and they go, that's what I want.
Yes.
And they begin a journey, and, you know, it's got the mess ups and the mistakes, but really when they begin to see what Jesus Christ was about, then it opens a whole new world to them. Now it's not about weight loss, or now it's not about, you know, I don't want to go to hell. It's, I want to go to heaven. I want to enjoy the blessings that Jesus Christ has given me in my life. And if you can apply that, that's the same way with eating. That's the same way I think alcoholics do the same thing. Someone who's a drug addict, someone who's angry, someone, a bad marriage. It all starts with your why you are doing it and what you want out of it.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's true in everything. And so that's why we wanted you on here, because I think gluttony, if you want to call it that, or just struggling, stress eating, binge eating. Listeners, come on now, you struggle with me too. Surely you do, that I'm not, you know, abnormal for having that. And so we want you on here as a real guide to maybe introduce us to something, but also see the spiritual connection, I think, that goes with it, because there's so much Bible there that can lead us in helps that I think can help us physically, but also spiritually.
Do you think that in that process, and I know you probably do, but for the sake of the question, you think about all that process, the 3-year process, not just the 1-year process, that it did require some of your planning and education and knowledge. It was a big part of it. But as a Christian, that had to be a big component of it if you didn't have Christ through that process. Specifically thinking about like the Spirit that helps us, you know.
You're lost.
Do you see that playing a role in you finally making those changes you needed to make? Was that a spiritual journey too for you?
Oh, absolutely. And when you don't have Christ, I can see it. It starts pricking your heart.
Yeah.
Right. You start that feeling. You get that tinge when you're doing something wrong, and you know it's wrong, and you know it's not going to benefit you, and you know that it's not going to make God happy, but you do it anyway. You're like, I know that's wrong. That's the Holy Spirit. That's, you know, it's pricking your heart. You need to actually stop what you're doing and listen to it. That's what I did. My blood sugar was pricking at me. You know, my cholesterol was starting to climb up.
Yeah.
I was just feeling horrible. The fatigue, the constant headaches, the body hurting head to toe, those were all pricking at me.
Yeah.
But but it wasn't enough.
You weren't listening to
No,
it, yeah.
because I still wanted all of my food. I did not, and then it clicked with me. I thought, I'm being like my mom was, and I got to open my eyes. I can't just say, I'm going to eat what I want to eat.
Right.
That's not true. God has given us so many things to eat on this planet that will sustain you and is so much healthier for you than a Twinkie. Okay?
Yeah.
But if it
Not
is...
that God didn't give Twinkies. I mean, listener, yeah. Or maybe it was the devil.
Well,
the devil gave Twinkies.
and even-
There you go. So,
Because even
That's
some of the
probably some
verses I
truth
put
in
on
that.
there. I mean,
That's probably-
Genesis 1, and God said, Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for
Yes.
food. In Genesis 9:3, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. God planted trees all in the garden and said, you can eat from all of it.
Yes.
Just can't eat from that one tree. And that's the very tree that we eat from. And when we get stressed, when we get angry, when we get upset, when we get worried, when we get concerned, Satan comes in and go, don't you want to be like God and know how to fix that?
Yeah.
Why don't we eat that? That'll make you feel better. Why don't we eat this? That'll make you feel better. And in America, we've bought that lie. And that's the psychology of it, that's what we do. Sometimes we go straight to food that's fixing to help us. And God says, no,
Yes.
I want to be your source of what's right and wrong.
Yes.
I've given you everything that you could have a healthy life. And we
But
eat the
you
wrong
have to-
stuff.
You have to get to that point where you are rock bottom, and that's where I felt. Watching my mom go through all of that, and then with Tim and learning all that, and with all of my physical issues, I finally hit that rock bottom, and I started listening to all these things that were pricking at me, and then talking to you in that kitchen. I was like,
I remember that
is
conversation.
God giving me a blessing, giving me an opportunity to learn about this system.
The right time.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yes.
it has to be your choice, and you have to be all in.
Yes. And you have to learn to be content
Yes.
with the things that's available to you. And even before the podcast, we went to Numbers 11, and I said, does any of that even jump out to you? This scares me. Like in Numbers 11, now the people complained about their hardships in the hearing of the Lord. I mean, if God hears our blood pressure and he hears the way that we, are living our lives and what we're eating, and then he's looking at, I've given them everything that they need, and then we're complaining about needing other stuff. I mean, that's what they were doing. And when he heard them, his anger was aroused. Fire from the Lord burned among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. And then the rabble that were with them, they began to crave other foods.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they weren't getting what they wanted, or they weren't satisfied with God, just like sometimes I'm not satisfied with the Spirit that gives me self-control to control my eating. We begin to want other stuff. And man, in verse 18, you tell the people, consecrate yourselves in preparation for tomorrow. When you eat, you will eat meat. And the Lord heard you when you wailed, if only we had meat to eat. We were better off in Egypt. Now the Lord will give you meat, and you will eat it. You will not eat it for just 1 day or 2 days or 5 or 10 or 20 days, for a whole month, until it comes out your nostrils and you loathe it.
Wow.
Because you have rejected the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we do. We eat until it gets to a place where we're like, I can't eat anymore. Spencer and I, we say that. I hit my high.
Yeah.
My weight is the highest it's ever been. If I go any higher, there will be no coming back.
That's right now. Yeah. That's
It's right
actually
now. It's
Yeah.
where we're at. That's
Yeah.
why I'm on day 5.
Yeah.
And someone can say, didn't you say that too? Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I don't want to give up. I'm not going to quit.
Another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Look at there.
I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit.
Yeah.
Does that mean I may fail tomorrow? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm going to keep pushing forward, because I know it's a greater thing than just food.
Well, and you think about it too. God gave us all these things, like you talk about. Twinkies weren't here on the
Twinkie
days
tree.
of creation.
That was
Twinkie
knowledge of good
tree.
and evil. That's the tree of knowledge, the
That
Twinkie
was-
tree. Yeah.
That was man.
It
that
is.
was man saying, this is just really not good.
Yeah.
What can I make that's good? Of course, this chicken is going to be much better if I just batter it up and throw it in this grease.
Yeah.
That Of course I want that. But do I need it? No. I can be content with this other chicken that I've
natural.
learned all kinds of different seasonings that make it so good.
But I think that's the issue of gluttony.
Absolutely.
And most of the time as preachers, at potluck, you always hear hey, preacher, don't preach on gluttony. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I'm going to come in here and I'm going to enjoy this.
It's a joking, not joking.
Yeah,
thing.
but in America, we have so much excess.
Yes.
We have so much stuff that is bad for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's some
We've
people,
created it.
when you don't have it, you don't eat it. And so, I think gluttony comes in a lot of different forms. It's not just maybe overeating.
Food. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the
we
heart
could be
of the
gluttonous in a lot of areas in our life if we prefer that over what God is offering us.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes,
Absolutely.
that's gluttony. It's chasing after all the things that are under the sun apart from God. It's vanity.
Yeah.
You mentioned something before the podcast, and we got to bring it up. There was two phrases, but there was one I want you to mention now because I can't remember how you worded it, but it was the 1 bite versus the 1,000 bites
Yes.
phrase. How did that go?
really does link to gluttony if you think about it. So whenever you have a craving and you're wanting that sweet, whatever it is, I'll just have 1 bite. I just need one little sample and I'll be good. Now, you tell me, have you ever eaten just 1 sample and walked away from
Literally
it?
never.
Feeling content and
Not a
happy?
time.
Yes.
You a lie.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. This relation, the Jiminy Cricket thing here.
Yeah. We'll get to that next, live.
Yeah, we're getting there. That's in my pocket right now. Yeah.
So one thing, a mantra that I have repeated to myself over and over, and I've learned it through this Real Food group this past year, is 1 is too many, but 1,000 is never enough.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay, that one bite sounds like it's just a little bit, and it'll help me be content, but it's too many because that opens you up to now I can have it all, and then you feel like, well, it's just not enough. 1,000 bites are never going to be enough. I just got to keep putting it in.
Yeah.
So that's something that has really
real.
stayed in my head.
Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, Jiminy Cricket. That's if you know Mindy. She will. If you ask her to hold you accountable, you're going to hear from her if you're not doing what she said you're going to do. And these two have especially it's been hilarious but great.
Yeah, and I told her for the podcast, I mean, like Jiminy Cricket, with Pinocchio, he really wanted to be a real boy. I really do want to be a real boy.
I know you do.
So I need Jiminy Cricket
your
to be
nose
a
just
part
keeps
of the
getting
story,
longer.
but
Yeah.
my nose and my belly just keeps
the
going.
belly.
My
It's the
belly.
belly. Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel
it's
you. I feel you.
and so I really want to be a real boy.
Yeah.
So I need Jiminy Cricket.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
You're welcome.
But that mentor relationship that we all share, and Mindy has I believe it's a spiritual gift for that. In your journey, you've kind of become passionate about helping others find that.
Absolutely.
And that's, you see that twinkle in your eye light up when somebody's like, how do you do that? And what is real food? And you go all in. I mean, it's
Yes.
coaching, but it's really genuine.
Right.
And so,
Thank you.
yeah, well, I see that. And so you started cooking for the masses not long after you discovered real food. I mean, I thought I had a spider on my foot. That was a cord. Thank
but
goodness.
I'll say that's why I preach today.
Yeah.
Because
It's the same
I
thing.
see the
Yeah.
same thing.
Same
And so
thing.
my eyes light up when
Yeah.
I see an issue that comes up that,
Yeah.
let me help you with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to help you with that. And if they say they want help, I will text you.
Yeah.
I will encourage you. I will call it what it is.
Yeah.
That's right.
And let's be frank with it. Let's be real with it. Let's deal with it. Let's handle it. And then let's continue to move forward. And
Have I babied you over the past year? Have I babied you? at
you
all?
remember you know where it started. It started with me telling you what to do.
Yes, and now where are we at?
No, you do not
The
baby
student
me.
has become the
And look at
teacher,
this.
yeah.
You even offer. I mean, like, this is unreal.
Yeah, what is
I mean, this is
exactly?
real, though.
Before we
It's not
go-
unreal. This is real.
This is real.
This is
Now,
real.
before
not
we
a
go any
mirage.
farther,
It's
there's
not
some
a-
listeners out there that have heard real food, and they want, what is that? Can you,
Yeah.
where can they go to find it? What can they do before we get to the end of it? Because
Yeah.
they may stop listening and go eat.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that is a side effect. It's called Weight Loss with Real Food. And it's the website. They have a website and a Facebook page. On Facebook, it's just called Real Food. Okay. And then the website is weightlosswithrealfood.com. And if you go there, they have a section on how to get started, because let me tell you, it is overwhelming. And I've had so many people come to me and ask me about it, and I send them to it, and then they just kind of give up because it's just too much. You can't take it all in. You've got to do it piece by piece by piece. But there's a whole section on getting started, and it navigates you on what to read and where to even start. So weightlosswithrealfood.com.
Okay, good.
And
So
I'm
listeners, just go look it up. Just try it. Let's see it. We're in this thing together. So put the comments out there, and if you've done something that's been successful for you, let us know, because I mean, we're all trying to achieve the same thing, and we do the same thing spiritual. We go to, I guess, Bible.org. Go to Bible.org to understand, the...
Mindy, you've got a husband getting some brownie points on Facebook here. He said something like she is a great cook, and she makes the food taste better than those things that are fried because of all of her spices. And Tim,
Look at that.
Shout out to the hubby there. So
Look at that.
He's listening. That's awesome.
Thank you. And he's been doing a great job, y'all. He's already lost 6 pounds in the past
Oh, awesome. Okay.
because he has started eating my food,
Yeah. Kind of religiously there.
religiously. Yeah.
That is really
So
good.
what did you really make for us this morning? I'm
Well,
excited.
I do want to share cereal before I get
Okay.
started on
No,
that.
yeah.
I know Tim brought y'all Captain Crunch.
With berries.
With berries.
This has berries. This is pure protein.
Tim?
Okay. Mixed berry almond cereal. Tons of protein. Very healthy.
Okay.
This is a limited edition, and I don't have it in the original box. I'm sorry.
Oh.
But it's Cheerios. It's chocolate strawberry Cheerios.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, it tastes like chocolate covered strawberries.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's healthy.
Limited
and then I
edition.
pair it with the Fairlife Ultra.
You're leaving that for the wannabe?
Yeah.
I can.
Woo-hoo.
I absolutely will.
Yeah, you
so
will.
I pair it with Fairlife fat-free milk, because that gives you tons of protein instead of regular milk.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my cereal plug instead of Captain
I
Crunch.
love it.
Now,
Yeah.
now, we talk about stress eating.
Yes, we do. And
We
do.
binge eat because we get stressed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now tell me this, Mindy.
Yes.
Because you started eating real food, does your stressful issues in your life go away?
No.
I think that's what a lot of Christians, they just think, well, if I go to the Bible and I begin to do what Jesus wants me to do, then all of my issues will go away.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah.
The stress is still real. Being a mom is still real. Being a husband is still real. You still have issues in your life. But you've changed what you go to.
Oh, absolutely. I've changed how I react to that stress. I have the tools now. I have the knowledge now. And I use all of that. Whenever I do need some comfort food, looky here. This is way better than a Twinkie. This is a strawberry pie. This is fresh strawberries.
Looks great.
It's 0 sugar.
You should have brought a Twinkie, though, to put it up there next to...
The test. Yeah.
That is real pie crust.
Did you see her clear her voice?
You actually get pie crust, and these are all the same. It's just my ramekin. I didn't have another smaller one, so y'all can choose whichever one you would like, and you can add 0 sugar Cool Whip.
Now
on
we're getting
top.
serious. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds awesome.
So I brought spoons too.
That is so good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat that.
Is there like cream cheese or anything underneath there? Is
No.
there like a put? Like this is just all strawberries?
Are you really just saying that? This is what we just talked about.
Jiminy Cricket's coming out now.
When is it going to be enough?
Jiminy's coming
Because I
out.
promise you, take a bite of that, and it will satisfy that sweet
Here's your
craving.
spoon.
Take
Yeah.
a bite of that.
Try
There's
your
a
bite.
spoon.
You want some Cool Whip?
Oh man.
This was created by God.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you want Cool Whip before I use my spoon?
Yeah.
Look at there. Spencer, do you
Look
want
at that.
some?
Yes, please.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, listeners. Even if you comment, you don't even know what this tastes
Yeah,
like.
you just
Okay.
don't know. You don't know.
I'm telling you.
Now, oh, that's so good.
Thank you.
That's so good.
That is better than a Twinkie.
It is. It really is.
Thank you.
It
I would really
is.
say
You have a lot more flavor. There's
oatmeal
freshness.
cookie. I don't know. You know the oatmeal cream pies.
Yeah.
No, I hate those.
Oh, those are so good.
Well, anyway, this is way bigger, and it takes you longer to eat.
It
and
does.
You can just enjoy it.
About how many calories is in that? 200?
You would ask me. I'll look it up.
100?
I don't remember. Hang on just a second.
It really doesn't matter, though, because it probably sustains you.
Yes,
Exactly.
it
I
does.
mean, you're not worried about the calories
Now, I
as
will
much.
say that whenever I have this, I have to go back and plan the rest of my day to make sure I get more protein in. Because
Right.
that's another aspect of it. I've learned how the different macros are important to keep balance throughout your day. You need protein, but you also need fat.
Yeah.
You don't really hear that when people talk about diet.
I know.
You need fat, you need
Good
carbs,
fat, yeah.
and you need some sugar. Because if you deprive your body of that, that's what causes your cravings. You're depriving yourself of real sugar, your body's going to get it.
Yeah.
You're going to break down and you're going to have that sugar. But
Yeah.
if you can
Fruit.
eat something like this, that helps curb that.
Yeah.
And I don't crave things like I used to anymore. If I want something sweet, I'll make something like this. Or I'll make a really good blueberry, well, anyway, we won't talk.
Oh, I love
cheesecake.
it. Yeah, there you go.
And it helps me feel like I've gotten a good dessert and I'm content.
Yeah.
But I also know I need later in the day, I'll have to add more protein in so that I have my balance because this doesn't really have protein.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
So,
So in your journey, you started getting people interested in your cooking because we have potluck here every Wednesday night. And I don't know if that's how it started, but you would bring your food kind of because there's not real food a lot of times on the table over there before church. So people started, what's that? How'd you do that? And you season stuff really good and it's obvious. And so word starts to get out of, hey, would you start cooking meals for me if I paid you? And you became like overwhelmed
it
with...
did become overwhelming. And I plan to do it again someday. But right now I needed to stop and focus focus on my family and cooking for them. And I'm still learning myself. So I had to slow it down a little bit because I felt myself getting overly stressed again. And I wasn't able to stay on plan myself because I'm too busy cooking.
Well, I think that was, isn't that like Moses? I mean, didn't he get stressed about? Because everybody was coming to him with every issue they had. Can you take this to God? Can you take that to God? And, it would almost make, you've got the same grocery store I do. You've got the same,
Well, that's what I was going to say.
information.
In people eating that real food, I at least noticed that this is good. And I want more of that. I mean, you saw people kind of have the light bulb moment maybe with, oh, this is real food. Oh, and they want you to keep making it, but when you can't keep making it.
They do. But I've also shared lots of recipes with people. They've asked me for them.
Exactly.
And, I posted on Facebook at my 1 year mark, just kind of posted about my journey and how much I'd lost. And so many people reached out to me individually. And I was constantly answering the same questions. That's why I posted a few weeks ago and said, hey, I'm thinking about putting together just a session. Everybody can come in and talk to me and I'll answer your questions. I'm no expert. I'm no dietitian. I'm no food expert. But I feel like there's a need there and so many people reached out with questions. So,
Well, it's finally something that's not an MLM, multi-level marketing thing. It's finally somebody that wants to help you with things that you have access to already that's not in it for something other than I want you to benefit. And that's so refreshing to people.
Yeah. I have no stake in it at all.
Props to that.
I promise I did not make much money making those meals. But, Tim was like, Mindy, is it worth it? You're not really making much. I was like, but I'm helping people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was compromising my stress and my health.
Yes.
But I can tell you, we do the same thing as preachers. It's so interesting how many things in life really parallel and connect to our spiritual well-being and our spiritual health as well.
Oh,
it's just amazing. I mean, we talk about the same thing as preachers, that we don't make a lot of money off of this.
Yeah.
But we love serving. We love doing. That's what we're about. It brings us joy. But when you overdo it and you just have people coming to you constantly and they're not really trying to fix anything, they just want that easy fix. Yes. Just tell me the little things that I got to do and then I can make the transformation. And you're like, well, I wish it was that easy.
Yes.
Just like you. I mean, you can have that conversation with me, but until I decide this is what I'm going to do.
Yes. How many times have we talked about that, honestly?
A plethora of times.
Yep.
A lot of times. And I'm thankful for it. And I keep corresponding because I need that. Mm-hmm. I want that. Mm-hmm. But you also will acknowledge when I am struggling. That the struggle is real. Oh. That, it is real. You got this. Mm-hmm. See what the future's going to hold. And I think that's Jesus. He takes you where you are today, but he knows where he wants you to be here. And if we'll begin that relationship with him and we go to God's word, there's going to be things in there that you got to stop doing that.
Yes.
You can't eat that. You can't talk to that person that way. You have to forgive that person. You have to be kind here. You have to do those things. But after a while, the fruit of the Spirit, if we want to talk about the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control begins to be evident in your life. And you like that feeling. So in turn, your life becomes better.
Oh, absolutely.
You still have the issues coming at you.
Well, that's what
You still have birthday parties and New Year's.
And I actually do mentor some people through that group. I've become kind of an assistant mentor, volunteer, and she'll send me people to work with. And that's what they struggle with. And they're like, well, how do you deal with it? There's constantly birthdays and weddings and showers. That's where that saying that I told you guys earlier is, if you fail to plan, you might as well plan to fail.
Yeah.
Because whenever I know I'm going to a baby shower where there's wonderful, amazing food, or I know there's a potluck, I prepare. I either eat ahead of time, where I know I'll be content and not tempted, and I'll just drink coffee because I love coffee.
Yeah.
Or I'll bring something healthy and share with everyone.
Right.
And let me tell you, folks eat it.
Yeah, they do.
So those are, that's my planning ahead. You have to plan ahead or you will not succeed with it.
But,
same with Christianity.
Yeah, because don't we tell teenagers, you prepare spiritually before you go to school, before you go to that party, before you go on your date and you get in the car and
you don't make decisions
then
on the fly.
you're making decisions on the fly. No, you know what you're going to do before you get in there. You know what you're going to do before you get into that. And Christians, when you leave the church building, you're going to work, there's still people out there that are going to do things wrong. You're going to go to parties. You're going to be in situations that Christians should not be in, should not have to deal with. But we have to. And so then you have to go back to, why am I doing this?
Yes.
Is it of value? Is it important? And then it can sustain.
And
it.
Also it's important too. Sorry, I feel like
I'm eating strawberries.
This is the reason you're here.
Yeah.
It's important too to understand.
We want to know.
Yeah.
It's important to understand you're not always going to be successful at it. Okay, you're going to have ups and downs, and you're going to fail, and you're going to give in, and I've really over this past year, there have been many times where I've beaten myself up. People think that, oh man, you're just doing perfect now, and you just never cheat.
Right.
Now I'll tell you, for 7 months straight, I did not cheat. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I can say hand to God, I did not, and Tim can attest for me.
Yeah.
And after that, I had lost enough to where I could feel more comfortable and learn, how to maintain. So since then I've been able to enjoy, and I have had some slip ups. People think just because I'm so big into this right now and I love it, that I've done it perfectly. No, that's so not true. I have failed. Oh, I'm telling you. I have dug into those. Oh my goodness.
There is
Reese's,
no perfect.
Reese's
But
peanut butter cups, popcorn.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm there. I've done it.
Amen.
Yes.
And that's what I think people want to feel when they come into our building.
Yes.
And they're looking for Christianity.
Yeah.
We sit there like we have
be
no eating problem.
Transparent, and real.
We sit there like we've got it all together, and they're sitting there looking around going,
I ain't on that level.
I ain't on that level.
Yeah.
Right.
When I get my life right, then I'll go in there.
Yeah.
Man, if I went in there, lightning would strike. And you're like,
None
no,
of us are
it
on that
wouldn't.
level. Yeah.
They think you've got it all together.
We
and that's
are
so
here,
not true.
and even as preachers, ministers, as elders, deacons, leaders, it's not that we go sin so that grace may abound. God forbid. Paul told the church at Rome, but at the same time, we need to confess our sins one to another. And if we say we don't have sin, we are a liar. Just like you called me a liar on the way that I would say that I'm not eating or eating something. It shows up that you can't be doing that because this is the product of what you're doing. Right. And I think spiritually, we just need to be real with people.
Absolutely.
And Stephanie Price, she's one of our listeners, and I saw a Facebook post that she had the other day, and I think this was what she looked like 2 years ago, and she's lost down to, now this is physical, this is not spiritual, where she got down to a certain weight and had the picture there.
Yeah.
And it was just so wonderful, just so good to see a Christian. And she had to come to grips probably with her why.
Yeah.
Yes.
She come to grips with the same issue. You go to the doctor, you hear something that you don't want.
Yes.
and you say, this is more important than eating this.
Yes.
The same thing is true spiritual. Do you want this more than you want Jesus?
Absolutely.
And Satan is there to tempt us, just like
it's good to be hungry too. It's good to not be full, maybe, because we mentioned that a little bit. But the idea of not eating until you're so full that you got. And I think about the spiritual aspect that as preachers we try to hit on. We all think about is busyness in the culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to not be so busy you have no time to meet a need or a time to seek an opportunity, and that applies spiritually with eating. But it's cultural. Now, if we follow Christianity, we're going to benefit from not being too full with physical food. We don't have time for spiritual. I get that, but we are in America, and we're gluttonous because we have it abounding around us. But thinking about our cultural overeating, that's something we wanted to hit on. Look at America compared to the rest of the world's cultures. And not just because we're rich, it's almost just the culture. They may have the money to eat more food, but they stop at a certain point because they know it's better to not be overly full. And eating when hungry and stopping when satisfied is something that nearly all mammals are programmed to do from birth. But in the U.S., we kind of unlearn that. And we push ourselves to keep eating.
Clean your plate.
Yeah, clean your plate. Make a happy plate.
Happy plate.
But a lot of cultures discourage cleaning your plate, which is interesting. And so throughout India, the tradition advises that you eat until you're 75% full. And in Japan, the Japanese practice what's called hara hachibu. Yeah, eating until 80% full. Islamic guidance from the Quran indicates that excess eating is a sin, and then the Chinese specify eating until you're 70% full is what you should do.
But how do they know those percentages?
Yeah, I don't know how you gauge that.
Oh, I think I'm 72%.
Maybe it's by the plate, like what's left, because they don't clean their plate. I don't know. It's like, here's 70%. That's enough food for me. So I don't know. But I just think that's interesting. To be intentional about that as a Christian and as an American is important. And but I think most importantly as a Christian, sometimes you have to leave room in your cup for it to overflow, I guess. And so we forget that.
Intentional is a really good word for that.
Intentionality.
I like
Well, and I like that drink your food and chew your drink.
Yeah, that one took me a minute to think about.
Yeah, I had to think about
what
that
does that
one.
mean? What does that
The Indian proverb that encourages us to eat slowly enough and chew thoroughly enough to liquefy our food and move our drink around our mouth and thoroughly taste it before swallowing.
Okay, so what did I just tell you guys about this earlier? Compare it to a Twinkie. What did I say?
Yeah,
I forgot.
This is actually more flavorful. I mean, it's better.
I said savor it.
Yeah.
It's more to eat, so you feel like you're getting more, and you eat it slower because you're savoring it, and then you feel content because you've had that sweet. Instead of just cramming that whole Twinkie in your mouth and inhaling it, then you're going to want another one. After you eat this, I promise, I don't want anything else.
Exactly.
It makes me content. Also, your stomach moves a lot slower than your mouth.
Yes, it does.
That's the sad part.
Yes.
Our mouth just wants to keep going.
If you just wait, you get full.
Yes.
But
I've read that it takes your stomach
That's real.
20 minutes to determine whether whether it's full. So in those 20 minutes, your stomach is full. It just doesn't know it yet, and you're steadily just still cramming. And then you wonder why you're just miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 20 minutes ago, you would have been content.
Well, and following along what Spencer was saying, I thought it was interesting. They said when someone in France, and I've only been to France a couple of times, and that's to eat the Nutella crepes. Every time I go to France, which is not very often, Nutella crepes is the first place I go to.
Doesn't matter where we go.
I eat them on every corner. But instead of saying I'm full, I have no more hunger, which you were just alluding to. If you eat slow, But then other countries outside the U.S. emphasize that eating should be pleasurable and done in the company of others.
Huh.
I'm probably obese today not because of the food that I eat in company of others.
Oh, it's when you're sitting there at
It's
night.
the amount that I eat when no one's looking.
Oh.
It's the amount that I
That's
eat
real.
when everybody is gone.
Well, doesn't that apply to sin too?
Amen. It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It all applies.
when you're with the church, people come and
you're on your best behavior.
you don't cuss at church, do you?
Absolutely.
You don't tell that bad joke at church, do you?
Right.
You don't get angry here at church, do you? You don't. But But outside those doors, you can, because it's commonplace,
Right.
because it's awkward if you don't. So yeah, the same thing is true spiritually. It all comes from God. Just like at the beginning of the podcast, God gave us everything, and it was good. And since we've eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it's just opened up a door that
Yes.
man thinks they know what's best. And we do that in all areas.
Oh, absolutely.
All areas of our lives. And so being a part of the body of Christ is so valuable, so important. And I don't tell people that so I can have more numbers in my building and they pay me more money and they say, you're such a good preacher because everybody... No.
Yeah.
It's really what can change your life. It can help you.
Yes.
It can take you. And you're doing the same thing with Real Food. And that person who started the Real Food, what was her name again?
Sherry Boyd.
Thank you, Sherry Boyd, so
She's
much
amazing.
for doing that. And it hadn't even cost me a lot of money to be able to go on there. So I know this is coming from a place of desire to see someone better off.
Yes.
Because when you're better, your children will be better, your grandchildren will be better, your husband will be better, people in your world will be better. You share the good.
Yeah.
And that's Christianity.
Amen.
It's just Christianity through and through. We've got to do that. You bring the good things. It's so good. Don't we want to do the same thing as a Christian?
Yeah.
When we go into a room, that we're offering something that at the time, they may not even know they want
Right.
or even need.
That's right.
And that's just beautiful. And I think Jesus came into a world offering living water, real food.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Didn't he?
I love it.
I mean, he came into the world to offer that. And many who accepted it, man, they became healthy. They put away those things.
Yeah.
But there were some, it's not for me, kind of like what you were saying with your mom.
Yeah.
I'm happy eating the food that I'm eating. I'm going to do, okay. That's fine. There's consequences that will come from that.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Consequences.
So.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Man.
This was awesome.
Yeah,
This
that was good.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will. And we encourage you to add Mindy on Facebook. And if you want to learn more about this or you want her to, get with you or something,
Yeah.
I'm sure she would reply. Again, she's just a wonderful mentor and a guide. She can be your Gemini too.
Yeah. So
so-
comment on there, listeners. If you have questions about that, where do I find that website? Where do I find that Facebook?
Yeah.
Or once again, put other places, other things that what has worked for you, what has helped for you. Because like I said, I'm day 5 of trying it once again.
Yes.
And I'm as sincere as I have been the other times.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'll be texting you later, and you
That's
will not
right.
get a Twinkie today. You've
That's
already
right.
had this.
You've had your Twinkie.
yeah, I'm good. I will eat the rest of that bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And
I've been
some
working on this
cereal.
whole time. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and something I didn't think about, guys, with Real Food, I'm trying to show you good things you can have. People think diet, you automatically think of salad and just bland stuff. And
Yeah.
there's so much more that as long as you balance it, you
Yeah.
can have really good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Oh, I'm encouraged.
Me
thank
too.
you.
Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a blessing, and it's just amazing how many applications you can draw from decisions we make in daily life, and how it affects us spiritually. And the goal, as we've started this podcast and up until now, is just wanting to be more like Christ in daily practical living. And I think this was the perfect example of that, and the perfect person to bring in as an example of what that means. Small daily decisions that will change your life and affect you spiritually. So, listeners, please give your feedback and stay tuned for more content coming. And we hope you have a good day and make some good decisions and draw closer
Don't
to
eat
Christ.
Twinkies.
No Twinkies.
Oatmeal
Quote of the
cream
day.
pies?
That's
No.
right.
Zebra cakes,
This was 142 calories.
142 calories.
Woo! It makes me want to sing. Thank y'all.
I want to be like you,
That's right.
Walk like you, talk like you.